Welcome to the Study Abroad in Latin America info meeting. My name is Genesis Herrera, and I am one of the regional advisors in the UCSB EAP office. Joining me today are some returnees from programs in Latin America. We have Natasha, Julia, if she made it, Rachel, who studied in Chile, and Araceli, who studied in Mexico. And they'll all be sharing about their experience on their respective programs. Unfortunately, I don't have anybody for Argentina, so if that's the country you wanted to hear about, I will do my best to answer your questions, but unfortunately, I don't have a returnee that is present here today. The focus of this meeting is to relay specific information about the programs we offer in Mexico, Chile, and Argentina. We plan to cover program-specific info, eligibility requirements, steps for filling out the application, and of course, advice from our amazing returnees. So I wanted to start by just quickly explaining the different types of programs that we offer in Latin America and around the world. You can see the types of programs broken out here in the screen. Immersion programs are the type of program where we take you from UCSB and place you at a host university around the world where you will live and study like a local student. You attend classes with locals, choose your own courses for the most part, and perhaps take courses in the country's local language if English is not the language that is spoken. These are typically the most flexible programs with your courses, with your free time, and with your living arrangements. There are also special focus programs, which are the type where you go abroad to study a specific subject or have coursework built around a particular theme. These programs could be with just UC or other international students and can be held on an actual campus or at a study center where only UC students go. UC construct programs are similar to what I just described, but are only for UC students, whereas sometimes with the others, you could be with international students from other countries. But with UC construct programs, courses are typically in English regardless of where you go, and you usually take a language class along the other courses. Courses are held at UC study centers, not usually university campuses. In order to begin looking at some of these programs and all of their program details, you will go to the UCEAP website, which looks like this. You will see the two messages that are on the left side when you land on the website. You can search for programs several ways. So for Latin America, if that's what you wanted to start by searching, you can first search by region, and then you will be able to select the country that you're interested in. So you can see those three things circled there on the screen. We'll start with Chile. We offer two programs in Chile, one of which is a full immersion program and another that is focused on sustainability through a sociological lens. We'll start with the Chilean Universities program. The Chilean Universities program allows us to send students to one of two universities in Santiago, Chile, which is the capital. One of the universities is the Pontifical Catholic University of Chile, known also as La Católica, or the University of Chile, also called La Chile. PUC Chile is a private university in Santiago that is always ranked among Chile's top 2 or 3 universities, and it is spread across 4 campuses in Santiago with convenient access to subway stops and pretty much everything else that you would need to get to within the city. La Católica is an open-minded institution with an active student body, and it does not require religion to attend. So don't feel intimidated or just turned away by the title. It is, like I said, a very open-minded institution. It has a unified central administration, and it functions much like a US university with 16 facultades, or that's basically the equivalent of like a college or school of, so like your College of Letters and Science, or School of Business or something like that. The University of Chile, the other one, is a public university that is considered a top research institution. The university has 5 campuses and many interdisciplinary centers spread throughout Santiago and the country. This university has a student body that is very politically active and prides itself in being leaders in the community when it comes to social movements. Our students have experienced demonstrations and strikes at La Chile over the years and have been at the center of massive social movements as well. So since this is an immersion program, all of your coursework will be taught in Spanish, and you have to have completed at least 2 years of Spanish or the equivalent of that before arriving on the program. The only exception to this, which is brand new and was just announced to us like literally this month, is for students interested in taking courses in business and economics. La Catolica's Faculty of Business and Economics is offering a lot of English coursework for their own students. So our students will now be able to attend this program with no Spanish background if they want to take courses only in this faculty. So only basically if you're an econ major or just interested in taking, some business related courses. If you're interested in this opportunity, please talk to me separately during my drop-in hours and I can give you information about it. It's not quite reflected on the UCEAP website yet that this is an opportunity. So please talk to me afterwards. Now let's hear from our first returnee, Natasha, who studied in Chile last year. Natasha was in a unique situation, also having been abroad during the COVID-19 outbreak. So I'll ask her to touch a bit on that too. But to start with, Natasha, could you please tell us about your time in Chile, which university you attended, and what were you studying?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Natasha. I'm a fourth year biopsychology major, and I studied at La Católica for one solid week before I had to leave due to the pandemic. But I ended up taking all of the classes remotely, so I did finish my coursework at La Católica. I guess my experience was amazing. It was really great, both for the 7 weeks that I was there and for the next 4 or so months that I continued to take the classes. And I took kind of two different fields of coursework. I took 2 psychology classes, which were my upper division electives. So I took one class on personality and identity, and then I took another class on psychology and play and how play impacts the development of children, or like, I guess what its purpose is, because it tends to be like a very universal thing. Anyways, in addition to that, I also have a Spanish minor, so I took 2 upper division courses in for my Spanish minor. One of them was Andean literature, which is kind of like native literature, what they had both before the Spanish came to Chile and during and after, and how that kind of impacted the literature and shifts in that. And then the other one was Spanish literature from a certain time period. I think it was medieval Spanish literature. And I actually enjoyed all of the classes, even though I'm generally like a biology kind of person. I found the shift to be really interesting. And they teach them very well, and they're also much more discussion based, which was very different for me because I tend to, I'm pre-med, so all of my courses tend to be kind of multiple choice based. So we had a lot of group projects and a lot of discussions, which I think was good because it involved my brain a lot more. The only downside was that a lot of my classes were at 5 a.m. because of the time difference. So that wasn't super fun, but I adjusted and it worked out just fine. So hopefully it doesn't happen for you guys. I don't think it should.
Yeah, definitely a unique experience. So I guess tell us how it was for you during the first weeks that you were there participating in the ILP program and living with a homestay.
Yeah, so the ILP program, if you guys don't know, is essentially an intensive learning program where you, for 3 weeks every day, go to one of the campuses of La Católica, and you basically take an intensive Spanish course, mostly to kind of get people into the like back into the swing of things if they haven't taken Spanish in a while, or that, as well as kind of getting us more acclimated to the area. I mean, moving from Santa Barbara to a big city is quite a change, and it was important, especially during this time. And I don't know if you guys, I'm hoping you guys have heard of this, but they had a like a, I guess you call it like a revolution. They call it an estallido, that in October, and I came the following January. So it was also a way for us to kind of be able to maneuver around that and understand what was going on. So we took some trips to some places and we talked a lot about the estallido during the class, and kind of where it came from, and more of Chile's history, which was also really important. And then in the homestay, so I stayed with mine, they're not mine, but I would consider them like my little parents, or my little grandparents, because they're so adorable. In a homestay, basically I stayed for 4 weeks, which is I think the maximum amount you can stay before you decide to stay the entire time or decide to move out. I ultimately decided to move out, not because I didn't like them, just because I wanted more of my freedom and I'm more used to being a college student. But that was really amazing. They were super fun to talk to, and they brought over family. And I was super nervous at first. I didn't come out of my room the first time they brought family over, but the woman came and she took me out of my room very nicely and sat with me and made me feel not super nervous about my Spanish speaking skills. And overall, I think talking with them during dinner, I guess you could call it dinner, they kind of call it something else, but I definitely improved my Spanish skills, and they were really, really nice about correcting me if necessary. But just being able to talk very freely for like hours, not hours, but maybe like an hour, hour and a half, that was also extremely helpful.
That's so good to hear. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, of course.
What about these photos? And I guess where were you up to? Did they prompt any memories?
Oh yeah, lots of memories. Okay, I'll start with the left. The reason I chose this picture, this is an art museum that's in Santiago, but the reason I chose it was actually for what's on the outside, which you guys would consider graffiti. And it was very reflective of the atmosphere at the time, the political atmosphere in the Estallido, where they are not very happy with their government. And so I thought it was a really interesting juxtaposition. And one of the questions that the art museum actually had inside was, would you consider, like, what do you think we should do with this? Do you consider it art, or do you consider it kind of tagging or graffiti, or something that kind of hurts the museum? And a lot of people were like, no, you should leave it there as kind of like as a reminder, and consider it art and activism and stuff like that. So I just wanted to show that, because I think the political climate was a very important part of Chile, and kind of the spirit of Chile was something that you would see all the time. And then the middle picture is reflective of Chile's history. So Chile has quite a history. There was a pretty intense dictatorship. And these are the photos of a lot of people that went missing or were killed during that time. And this is a museum that we went to as a group, I think during the first couple of weeks, just so we were able to see, I guess, the magnitude. And this isn't even like maybe a third or a fourth of the wall. Like it's way bigger, but also just a really good reminder of Chile's history, and also just how open they are with their history. I think a lot of the times you may not find countries that are so open with how things have been. And so for the government to be kind of open about what had happened in the past, I think was important. And then the one on the right, it's actually not me, it's my friend Hannah. But this is in a place called Valparaiso, which is very well known for its murals, which you can kind of see on the edge. These aren't like the best of the murals. There are a lot of other ones. But one of the defining features of Valparaiso is that it's very hilly, and they have these little kind of trams, or you can take these really or like these, I don't know how many steps there were, I can't remember, but a lot of steps. So I kind of just wanted to show that you can travel a lot in Chile from Santiago. I think this was maybe, I want to say like 2 hours away, 2 or 3 hours. So not like super far as you'd find in California. You can go pretty much anywhere. So I just also wanted to highlight that, because it was also my favorite trip that I was able to take.
Thanks, Natasha. I couldn't tell from far away. I thought it was you, but tell your friend she looks great as well.
Yeah, I'll let her know. Yeah.
All right, and thank you so much. We'll have you share more at the end during Q&A, but for now, I'll move on to our next program, which is the Socio-Ecological Sustainability in Southern Chile program. This one is fairly new and would have run for the third time this fall, but of course, with COVID, we weren't able to run it. It starts off in Santiago for about a week, but for the most part is held in the town of Villarrica on the shore of Villarrica Lake and the surrounding areas, which is in southern Chile. It's not your typical study abroad program, as this one is focused more on allowing students to get hands-on experience with the topic they are studying, and involves a lot of field work and being involved with the local community. In addition to the courses on ecological conservation and environmental planning, you'll learn field methods to support a group research project. Project topics in the past have included riparian ecology, forest ecosystems, local organizations, women and home gardens, and environmental education projects. This program is not restricted to certain majors, but I think it's an ideal program for environmental studies majors. Of course, it was essentially built for environmental studies majors, but also a great option for sociology majors, maybe global studies majors, and I've also sent earth science majors in the past. All coursework on this program is taught in English, and you take a Spanish language class at the beginning of the program in Santiago. So we'll hear from our returnee, Rachel, who participated in this program. So Rachel, please tell us a bit about your time in Chile. It'll be a bit of a different experience, and just how your program went during the term you were there.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Rachel. I'm a fourth-year environmental studies major, and I did the Socio-Ecological Sustainability program in Villarrica in southern Chile last fall. So this program is a lot different from the other Chile program, and that you're just going to school with like other UC students, because it's like a area, specific like area study. And yeah, I would recommend this program to like any ES majors or any other majors with like environmental focus, because there's like such a large variety of courses. And that's part of the reason why I chose this program, is because I was hoping to find like my own interests within the ES major. And there's just like a lot of courses there's courses on biodiversity and conservation ecology. There's a course on interculturality and education for sustainability, which kind of combines like sociology, anthropology, and environmental studies. And then there's the field methods and research course, where you kind of combine what you learn in classes and what you learn about the local area and what your interests are into a research project of your choice, which was really cool. And for the research project, we got to go on a week-long trip and do field work, and got to work with the really amazing professors to kind of like figure out how to do our project, and then presented it to all the professors and students. And so for my project, we did how like different land uses in a certain watershed, the Wife Valley watershed, affect like large mammal abundance in the presence of large mammals. So we used vegetation surveys and camera trapping to kind of like do our field work, which was really cool skills to learn. And like these courses, there's not really any tests or exams. It's mostly just papers, projects, discussions, group work, and there's like a lot of field trips, which is really awesome. So like going to museums and local farms and forests, going on hikes, going to local schools, and meeting a lot of really cool researchers and professors and local people. And then there's like before going to Villarrica, you're doing like a 2-week Spanish course that's every single day for 2 weeks in Santiago, which is really helpful. I found it to be really helpful.
Based on, I guess, who else was in your program, do you think students who are non-ES majors or maybe don't have as much of a background in that subject would still find this program interesting and would still be successful on it?
Yeah, I think so. There were people in my program who were sociology majors, who studied like more the ecology side of environmental studies, and then people who are more interested in like the sociological or economic side of environmental studies. And then, yeah, Yeah, so I think it's good for a wide range of majors, not just environmental studies. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. And I guess tell us a bit about your living arrangements and proximity to other things you were doing on the program and how that was arranged.
Yeah, so we had prearranged guest or like host families. So in Santiago, I lived with a host family, and it was a little intimidating at first because I only have my only like Spanish background is from high school. So I was very rusty with my Spanish, and it is intimidating, but you just kind of have to get over that hump of like fear and then just like go for it. Um, and and yeah, like despite living with the family, like you still have like a good amount of freedom, and it's really awesome to like be able to meet and actually interact with local people in the area, especially if you aren't like a fluent Spanish speaker. Like you have that opportunity because you're living with Chileans. And then in Villarrica, we also had host families, and I ended up living with a family that was a bit outside of the city, and they had 5 kids. And then I had my parents and a bunch of pets. So it was really cool to like have 5 little siblings to interact with and play with, and that really helped with my Spanish and just like learning about Chilean people and Chilean culture. But when you are in Villarrica, you do have the opportunity to like live in, like you don't have to live with the host family. If you're really not like meshing well with them, then you can, I know some people on my program lived in hostels or like found other places to live. So that's definitely possible. And then there's like a lot of like doing the sustainability program, you're not going to be in a city for most of the time. So your leisure activities are more like outdoors based. So there's like a lot of hiking opportunities and just a lot of outdoor activities to do. And there are opportunities to like go into a neighboring town, like has a lot of like restaurants and some bars and like more like social activity opportunities. But like as you can see in these pictures, we did a lot of outdoor recreation. These 2 on the left are at Conguillo National Park, which was super beautiful, and you had to have a car to get there. But for a lot of places, you can take a bus, which is really nice. And the bus system in Chile is like very convenient. And then on the right is one of our classes. We went to a sustainable kind of like a home garden at like a place that had lodges. It was kind of like sustainable cabin company, and it was really amazing to like be able to explore their area. They had like a beautiful riparian ecosystem over there. Yeah,
Very
definitely.
cool. I guess if you had to pick, what was your favorite aspect of your program overall, given that it was such, so different from a typical study abroad program?
I really liked being able to live. I love living in a city, but I really like living in like this smaller rural area because it was really beautiful. And I don't know, since it was smaller, you kind of get to know the area a lot better and you feel like more familiarized with it, and it starts to like really feel like your home, which is really special. And like you see people that you know when you're walking around town, and that's pretty awesome. So I think just, yeah, getting to live with a family was like really amazing, and then getting to live in like a smaller town rather than a city that was surrounded by like beautiful national parks and just like, yeah, amazing landscapes.
Great, thank you. We'll move on for now, but of course we'll have you share more later during Q&A. So the last program that we offer in Chile is actually a multi-site program that takes place in both Buenos Aires, Argentina, and Santiago, Chile for 6 weeks in each place. It's a special focus program that examines each country's current social, political, and cultural situation following the relatively recent dictatorships that began in both countries in the 70s. Students attend classes with UC students only at the Torcuato Gitela University in Buenos Aires and at Universidad Alberto Hurtado while in Santiago. Because of the uniqueness of this program, it has gotten increasingly popular over the years, and unfortunately, there is a limit in the amount of students I can select for this program. So if this is your first choice program, I highly encourage you to identify a backup option that you would be open to participating should you not get a spot in this one. The application for this program is due the very first week of winter quarter on January 5th. It is a very cool program, of course, especially if you're already interested in a topic surrounding human rights. It's typically a lot of sociology students, maybe film and media study students, comparative literature students who might be interested in this program. You can find the list of the courses on the UCEAP website, but they're all more or less in those categories. So please hold your questions about this Chile or this program until the end, like I said, and or type them into the chat box now. And if the returnees feel comfortable enough, they can respond to you if they have the answer. But for now, we'll move on to programs in Mexico, since I do have a returnee that is here to share with you about her time in Mexico. We offer a total of 5 programs in Mexico, most of which are held in the capital of Mexico City. However, there are 2 programs that could take you to other locations as well, all of which you can see here on the map. The immersion program that we offer in Mexico is at the National Autonomous University of Mexico, or La UNAM, as it is called by locals. UNAM is the largest university in Latin America and is a highly ranked, prestigious research university, often referred to as the Harvard of Latin America. It has a student population of over 300,000, and it offers more study opportunities than all of the UC campuses combined. Its modern, attractive campus is a hub of educational and cultural activity, as well as Mexico-related research. And it also plays a critical role for the nation through its support of the National Seismological Service, the National Astronomical Observatory, and the National Botanical Garden. Attending this university gives you comparative insight into the education, health, legal, and socioeconomic systems of both Mexico and the United States. As home to the National Library, you'll have a wealth of resources available for class projects and research. Here are some photos of the Central University campus. It is absolutely beautiful, with artwork being incorporated into most of their buildings and with the famous Estadio Azteca located just across the street. It is also a very politically active university, grounded in its history of activism and social movements. And you can really see the sentiment among the students who attend. So let's hear from Araceli, who studied at UNAM last spring. And Araceli was also, in the situation of being impacted by COVID while she was abroad, so she can touch on that as well. But Araceli, to start with, I'll ask you the same type of questions as the others. What was it like taking classes at UNAM and being in Mexico? What was your experience like?
Yeah, hi, so I'm Araceli. I am a 4th year studying global studies and Spanish. So I was in Mexico studying at UNAM this past spring. I was in their Facultad de Ciencias Políticas y Sociales, and I was focusing on international relations because it was the closest to global studies. The program begins with 2 weeks before classes started at UNAM. So we had 2 weeks to get used to Mexico City. Our coordinator arranged like a small class just for us to learn like about the history. And we went on a couple different trips during those 2 weeks before classes started. I did only take the UNAM classes for about 2 weeks because the students were protesting. So the university, so some of the departments closed down or were shut down. But I began taking international organizations, globalization, identity, and cultural diversity, the perspectives on gender, and I also took a class on the environment. But the classes for those 2 weeks were great. The professors are really inclusive. They do pick on you and like start asking you questions about the US, especially my classes because they were political. They would call us out and ask us about like Trump and what our thoughts were. But as you can see in these pictures, the top picture on the left, that is one of the trips that we took that our coordinator arranged. That's the moon pyramid in the background, and we're on top of the pyramid of the sun in Teotihuacan. And the bottom is El Palacio de Bellas Artes, and the city just has so much culture and so much art. There's just always something to do. Something that I did during my time there was I started an internship at the Museo de Frida Kahlo, which is Frida Kahlo's house. So I did that internship for about a month before our program ended or was canceled. So that's that picture around Women's International Day.
That's amazing. I didn't realize you had done that. That's so cool. Thank you for sharing. So just to clarify, you completed your coursework online, or did you have to fully withdraw?
Well, we were given actually the option to continue our courses or withdraw. I chose to withdraw because I realized that I wasn't going to be able to do the work from home, as I would have been able to do and plus by taking the UC courses, I was for sure getting the credits. So
yeah, okay. I guess it's hard maybe to say, but how would you say their courses would have compared to courses at UCSB or just here in the States?
They're definitely more discussion oriented. I noticed that here, like my classes here at UCSB, most of it is the professors lecturing, and like you do have sections and all that. But in Mexico, I don't know, we don't have sections. So, and most of the classes were 2 hours. So there was like plenty of time to discuss everything. The professors were always asking students questions, and they were always very open to us.
Thank you. Another question I have is, so since sometimes when I'm talking to students about programs, they don't necessarily seem interested in Mexico, and the reason is commonly because Mexico is so close. We share a border with Mexico. It's easy to in a typical time, it's easy to travel and to go to different places in Mexico. So I guess, why did you choose to study specifically in Mexico, and what would you advise other students, just in terms of not wanting to study abroad given its proximity?
I chose Mexico because both my parents are Mexican. So I've gone to Mexico, but I've never really gone to Mexico City. I've gone for one day and that was it. So I never really got to know the city or be able to fully experience it, because it is an experience. Because you have to, at least for me, I wanted to be there for months, not just for a couple of weeks. I wanted to be there for more than that. I wanted to be there for months. And I did have that opportunity. There's just so much to see and so much to get to know. And when you put getting to know other students that are studying at UNAM, it's just a completely different experience. At least it was for me. I loved it. I loved getting to know the city, and there's always just so much art everywhere. It's pretty easy to get around the city. There's the metro, so that's usually our transportation.
Yeah, and I guess that leads me to another question with regards to safety, since there's a lot of, ideas about how safe Mexico is out there. People have a lot of different opinions or, lived experiences in the country. So what would you say to students who have a fear of going to Mexico just due to safety? And did you yourself feel safe there?
I did. Mexico City is actually pretty safe. I was never in an instance where I didn't feel safe. One thing that I don't recommend is really walking at night, in the middle of the night. But there was really never a point where I was out walking in the middle of the night. But other than that, I felt safe the whole time that I was there. And plus, at least with this program, we have our coordinator who's available to us at any point that we need anything. If at any point that we that we needed help or that we felt that we were in danger, she was always there for us.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I'm glad that, you know, nothing negative happened while you were there. And I think that your advice is good advice for studying abroad in any place. So
Yeah.
thank you for just touching on that quickly. I'm going to move on for now, but I'll have you share in a little bit towards the end, just so that I can get through these next few slides. So I'll quickly mention our other programs in Mexico, but I won't get into these in too much detail because they're a lot more straightforward and a lot of the details are already found on the UCEAP website. But the first one listed here, I think, is a very niche and special program that I wish more students would take advantage of, the field research in Mexico. In this program, students complete an independent research project of the students choosing in one of 5 locations in Mexico, and you'd work under the guidance of a faculty mentor who is a university professor in Mexico. I've had students complete research in a variety of topics in all disciplines, so it's definitely available for students in any major. You do have to have 2 years of Spanish or the equivalent of that completed by the time of departure. So if you know Spanish or are working on Spanish language currently, this would be an excellent program if you want to both study abroad and do research and knock them out at the same time. So I highly recommend this program. The second program is focused on leadership and social justice, but essentially you spend fall semester at UNAM in Mexico, and then you return to California to participate in a UC Sacramento internship at the capital. And the idea is that what you study in Mexico and your internship back here in California would be linked around the theme of leadership and social justice and public policy. So if you want to know more about this program, definitely talk to me, make an appointment during drop-in hours. The last 2 programs listed here are summer programs. One is focused on global health and is also a very hands-on program where you work with folks in different medical capacities within Mexico. You'd be located at Puerto Escondido, Oaxaca. So not Mexico City, but a gorgeous beach town from what I can see. So if you are going down the health route as a career, or if you just want some hands-on experience with, you know, medical experts and facilities, then you'd want to check this program out. And the last program, Contemporary Mexico, is more cultural based. You'd be taking a Spanish language course along with a Contemporary Mexico course that is taught with the students who are doing ILP for UNAM and with the field research students. So you'd complete the summer portion with them, and then you would return home and they would move on with the rest of the program. So this is more if you just want insight into Mexican culture and contemporary topics. Again, all of the program info for all of these is on the UCEAP website. These are just some photos on the left of the study center and on the right of some students and also the beautiful Palace of Fine Arts that Araceli showed us earlier. So finally, we will quickly talk about Argentina. And so it should be fast because it's just one program. But in addition to the multi-site program that I talked about earlier, we offer only one other program in Buenos Aires, which is the Immigration and Identity Asia and South America program. This program allows you to see how Asian immigrant communities enrich the landscape of the region through the lens of history. And examining its Asian heritage, students learn how ethnic ties, economies, and politics have shaped Argentina's sense of identity. After a week of Spanish language instruction and practice, you will take 4 content courses for a total of 5 courses. All courses are cross-listed as ethnic studies, Latin American studies, and sociology. And you can see the specific course titles here on the screen. It should remain pretty consistent for future terms. I guess they could maybe switch slightly based on feedback from the first round of students who did this program. But for the most part, they should stay within the subjects of ethnic studies, Latin American studies, and sociology. So this program is also fairly new. It only ran once. This fall would have been the second time that it runs. And so we don't have a ton of student feedback yet, but I was actually able to visit Argentina and see the students who were there on this program last fall. And so we were able to, learn more about the program firsthand and also meet the instructors, visit the homestays, and just learn more about how all of our programs worked. This program originally had an additional component to it that took place in Lima, Peru. So students would be taken there for about a week to partake in a comparative analysis. Unfortunately, that component of the program has now been cut, mainly just due to budgeting and uncertainties with travel restrictions. If we're able to run the program in Argentina, oops, I'm very sorry about that. If we're able to run the program in Argentina, UCEAP just wasn't sure how feasible it was to then take the students out of the country again into Peru. So if you were previously looking at this program, please note that is a difference. But hopefully, because that has been cut, it'll also bring down the price of the program a little bit. These are just some photos of Argentina, the city in the top left, Iguazu Falls on the bottom right. Here's some others that are just really popular spots students go to visit. And just the last picture that we have. So we've covered a lot of info about a lot of different programs. So just let me quickly go over some next steps and then I'll open it up for Q&A. So hang in there, we're almost done. But the first thing you should do is decide on when you want to go, as these programs are offered during all kinds of different terms. So figuring out when you want to go and which program you want to do is the first step. We'll be having more country info meetings this week and more topical meetings later this month and early next month. So definitely attend more that you're interested in. Chat with returnees like Isaiah and Hannah to hear about their experiences directly from them. I'm sorry, not Isaiah and Hannah, those were for my other info meeting, but like Rachel, Araceli, and Natasha. We have a whole team of peer advisors and returnee volunteers like these ladies who are available to help you on your journey. You can find our calendar of events, our PA and open hour information, and our advisor drop-in information, as well as all of the application deadlines on our website. If you don't already have one, apply for a passport as soon as possible. And if your passport will expire anytime soon in the next year or so, you should also apply for a renewed passport. Students must have passports that are valid for at least 6 months after the projected end date of their program. So do plan ahead. And of course, look through all the courses offered on all of these programs and make sure that what you're choosing is a good academic fit for you, or is a program that is going to fulfill the needs and goals that you have for study abroad. And finally, if you are going to plan to study abroad next summer, fall, or year, you will have to apply this upcoming winter quarter. And the deadline for all of our programs are listed on our website. They all have different deadlines, so make sure that you're looking at the correct program when you're looking for a deadline. And finally, just please email me for an appointment if you have more questions, or sign up for my drop-in hours through Shoreline, which are listed here on the screen. You can get to my Shoreline scheduler through our website if you go to contact us. And if you cannot make the times listed on the screen, then yeah, please do email me for an appointment. But that is all I have for you for now. I do want to open it up for Q&A, and I know I went through that pretty quickly, so I'll stop recording now, and then you all will be able to ask questions out loud. So thank you everyone for attending. Give me just 1 second.